There was an iceman called Otzi. Have you heard of him?
No, I'm not sure. I don't think so.
He was frozen in Swiss Alps, I think it was. He's called Otzi, a 3,500-year-old shaman. He's believed to be perfectly preserved, and in the tattoos he has tattoos on his left wrist, left hip, and the two bars are on the right ankle. Right. So now we have. So now we know we filmed these things, and we know that the energy enters there. What was interesting is that in these tattoos were quartz. The archaeologists said that this happened just by chance. And yet we found blocks of quartz buried in ley lines. So these energy fields, which are ley lines, and the energy fields of a human being, which are ley lines, but they're just energy centers where energy enters, are one and the same. So they were tattooing quartz into their wrists. Now, the New Zealand rugby team use power bands, or have been, and it's a quartz band that sits on the energy center of the wrist. So we've come full circle.
I want one. I want one.
Yeah, well, you'll have to get the right one. What you do, put them on your arm, right? Hold your arm out, and get someone to push on your arm, see if your arm's stronger. Take it off, because sometimes some of them don't work for people, right? So you pull it off, and you hold your arm out, and if you're weaker, you know that I will give your energy a boost.
Okay, thank you. That's a great answer. I'm going to pass you on now. Okay. Gemini is going to ask you some questions now.
Thank you, Paul. And I want to remind our interviewers that you can help Paul in his research by purchasing his book, Orbs, Energy and Myths, The Secret of the Ancients, at www.lulu.com. You will also find his work on YouTube and at iTunes. Paul, we're going to be moving on to prehistory, ancient cultures, and other mysteries. And I would like to know if you're able to detect a difference in the orb structure based on the energy of the area. Areas where there have been negative energies, such as the Battle of Orwin Bridge, the United States Civil War battlefields, etc., versus areas that are conceived as having positive energy, such as ley lines.
Absolutely. In 2004, I went to America for a family wedding. And I knew nothing of American history. I knew you had a battle, and a couple of people fought in that battle, the French and the British, I think it was. But we were traveling to a place called Chambersburg, would you know that place? I don't know.
Yes.
So we were traveling to Chambersburg. Someone wanted to get hand-rolled cigars in a shop there. I don't know where it was. I got relatives in America, and I was violently ill. And I saw this great man, or I felt the energy or presence of a battle. And of course, then when I come back and I speak to my cousin, it was there was a battle in Chambersburg. So you can feel it. And in fact, I was amazed how little this will sound insulting to the American Indians, but I came across a graveyard. I came across some children. It's difficult to talk about it because it undermines all the hard work that I'm putting in. But there were children who were trapped in the spirit world, and they didn't know they died. They took me to their small little graves. I think they were the children one in there's a cemetery just in Cherokee in the car park of the Cherokee Visitor Center, and they called me over there. I didn't go into the Visitor Center. I was called into them to release them to the light. So yes, you can. Battles hold, particularly if the souls don't know they're dead. They can continue that battle in that area for generations, to be honest. So this energy fields then just holds the murder, death, kill age that we live in. They're not negative areas per se, but over time they'll become negative energies until the planet cleanses itself of all this death, this murder, the geoengineering, the suffering, the starvation. Then, and as the Earth renews its magnetic field, it will cleanse itself. And obviously, I've been pushing energy. I took some energy over to America in spheres and put them into places. But they're concepts that are very, I'm entering into concepts that only people who can do that could understand it. I don't mean to be, it's a very difficult question, but there are definitely that Chambersburg energy. You drive along the road and there's a grassed area and you come into the town. I would take it from the bottom of the town, so that would be coming in from the south of the town, and just before you reach the town, it's there. Whatever was there, it was there. And it whacked me probably more than the church in Milford Haven. Made me really violently ill. Shuddering, in fact. You're like shaking and vomiting.
Right.
And everyone's going, what's the matter? And I go, oh, nothing. I'm just spewing out the window, and they're going, well. So I think these areas have to be cleansed. And I think that I'm surprised that some of the shaman American Indians haven't done it. I was disappointed, really, to be honest. That isn't a judge, we went to Cherokee and they had a Santa land there and casinos. I went there looking for these people who I could just share some stuff. I wanted to know how they, like moving feathers, and they can move them up and down and stuff like that, and I wanted to show them some energy stuff. And but of course, we arranged a meeting with Debbie Standing Deer, I think, but it all fell apart. I don't know. She was going to take me to the Cherokee elders. I don't know why it didn't happen. It just didn't come up. I think Alex, again, it's old stuff. I'm like, I don't want to go into it really.
Sure.
But we arranged to meet her there, and that's where those children were. So I've been to America twice, one in 2004, and returned to do some energy work because it was very surprising. I've only been in Britain, and when we started the energy work, it just didn't seem to have so much violence on it as the American. It may be because I wasn't used to the energy or something. There was some dreadful energy in Georgia. I forget what it was called. Helen, is it Helen? I think that was the religious based energy. They're difficult things to talk about. These people love these places, and I'm talking about the places they love, and you know what I mean. But trapped energy is trapped energy, and you have to release it, whether it's from a cancer tumor or a magnetic field of the Earth. That's it. So yes, the answer is yes to that.
Well,
and trapped souls occur as well.
Well, I appreciate your answer on that. I know it was a difficult question, painful.
Yeah, well, it takes me to places where I've come on this interview to be honest, not to hide things.
Sure.
So I have to be honest, and even though it hurts me because I think it undermines the hard work that I put in and the scientific method that I put into the research into the orbs. I tried to keep it all out of the book. because I just wanted it as a piece of science work. But I know that science is not going to change itself until it's ready anyway. Posthumously, the great scientist will be proved right. And I'm not suggesting I'm a great scientist. That's just how it works.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who comes up with anything is not going to be recognized unless the controlling elite want it. If it fits their model, they can carry on the depravity and murder, death, kill, then they're fine, So as long as the theory fits their eugenics movement, they're fine.
Well, thank you, Paul. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And next up is Uranus rising.
Yeah.
Paul, in your book, you also have photos of prehistory rock art.
Yeah.
Showing how these may be ancient artistic impressions of orbs, energies used for healing and balance, and they're absolutely stunning.
And
they match your photos so closely.
Precisely.
Would you share how you arrived at that this understanding that that's what they were?
Well, it's going back to the work in the energy field. There were a lot of coincidence working on the ley lines, working on the standing stones, seeing the bars shooting out of the tips in that 50 sequential photograph.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing the one thing that we were filming, a doctor of geology accompanied us for parts of the research period. I'm not stating that he believes. He wrote a quote on the back of the book. I don't know if you've seen it. You may have seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And my dog was watching. So my dog now is sat in the front of. We are filming in Pennine Burrows. It's a burial chamber. And my dog was sitting in front of the film shoot. John was holding the blanket up because there were nettles, and we use fishing tripods to put the black blanket up where we film against.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so the dog now is looking at something out of the shot, and quite a way away because of the angle of her head. And she follows one of the bars that go across the blanket, go through John's back, and out the other side.
Wow.
And she follows that. So when I recorded that, I what with the bars shooting out of the top, animals being able to see it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thing called cryptochrome in animals' eyes, which are magnetically sensitive. Have I spoken about this earlier on?
No.
There's a cryptochrome which is magnetically sensitive, so it responds to electromagnetism. And they're publishing papers on birds' eyes saying that if they are that magnetically sensitive, then they can see magnetic energy fields, and that's how they navigate. And the thing is called cryptochromes. So animals and their night vision are probably the increased level of cryptochromes.
That's fascinating. Wow.
So it all fits. To me, it all fits together. But we're slowly catching up to the ancients, unfortunately.
Yeah, but
so,
how did you connect the dots there?
well, the thing is that these angles at the bases of the stones, the notches, the cutouts, follow the energy fields. I couldn't make that. They must have seen it.
Yeah.
They must have seen that. And so that was the conclusion. Firstly, the bars fire out. Secondly, the bars come into your wrists and your arms. They correspond with the Otzi tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
My dog sees it. And so all of a sudden, I'm going down the line. I go, right, well, it's in the rock art. I find it. The hook web orb, or one of the classifications called hook web orb, is perfectly identical. The orbs in 3 bars, in threes in the tubes, they're perfectly identical. And yet the archaeologists won't accept it. I've written to them. I've offered to assist some of their master's students on a shaman's view of the rock art. Just giving out all this information for nothing. And of course, I've been declined. I think the Scandinavian rock art, the way that they preserve the rock art by painting it with vegetable dye,